Tune in to the Diva Hot Show.
Hey, you guys, thanks for tuning in to the show. Today, our guest is Wendy. She's an entrepreneur, founder of LowCountry Sugar Scrubs. Thank you, Wendy, for joining us. How are you?
Oh, listen, Diva Hustle, thank you for having me on. I am excited to talk to you and excited that I am an entrepreneur working my way up that ladder, rung by rung.
I know. So tell me a little bit about your journey into entrepreneurship and what was the inspiration behind starting your own sugar scrub business?
Okay, well, I have done a lot of different things. For a while, I was a stand-up comic, which was great because I was on my own, but flat broke. But when I settled down and I was working a real job, a real job, like for a really big company and making great money, but I'm not trying to be like, I just didn't feel good. I didn't feel great about what I was doing, but I knew there was something else, but I didn't know what it was until a friend of mine told me to mix coconut oil and sugar together and get in the shower. Right? Like you think that like most women these days know what a sugar scrub is, but here I am 50 years old and I had never heard of a sugar scrub. We was like, what? So I tried, right? I tried and I'm rubbing it all over my body going, oh my God, what is this? Oh my God. Oh, so I thought, oh, this is great. I'm gonna start a sugar scrub business. And then, I gave it all away to, but it was like literally just coconut oil and sugar back then. Like, and I didn't know what I was doing, but I gave it to everybody for Christmas and I, designed a logo. But then I went back to, my life and I was like, anybody can make a sugar scrub. It's so easy. Look, I just did it. I mixed sugar and coconut oil. So what do I want to start a company? And then I said, then I started running a lot, like triathlons. And I was like, wait a minute, anybody can put one foot in front of the other and run miles, but how many do? So I said, no, I'm going to do the sugar scrub company.
Okay.
So I did, but I literally had no knowledge of what I was doing. I didn't know how to make a real sugar scrub. I didn't know where to procure jars, labels, the whole thing. I had to learn it. But I said to myself, if I just do one thing every day, I'll just move forward a little bit, because I couldn't quit my job at that time.
Right.
So I didn't, but that's how I started, with just an idea and the motivation to move forward. And I had to have patience, which I'd never had before, but I had to have the patience to say, it's not going to happen today, but if I just take a step every day, something will happen. And that's what I've been doing ever since.
So I know I reached out to you about setting up the interview, you had mentioned that we was talking about like setting yearly goals. So
Yes.
you walk me through some of your yearly goal setting processes and how it has changed over the years?
Yes. Oh, I was supposed to do a call with Barbara Corcoran. So I took down all these papers that I had all over my backdrop so that I would be good looking. But what I did was I started 3 years ago. And actually I followed a template that Damon John, from Shark Tank. I used his template and I sat down and I wrote down maybe 4 or 5 important goals. And then I had this call with Barbara Corcoran, and she said, what you want to do is write down everything you want to accomplish and then put either an A, a B, a C, a D next to it, whatever it is. And then you're going to tackle your A's, and then maybe eventually your B's are going to move up to your A's. And then like that. So that's how I started with that. And then this year I saw that I had reached some of my goals from 2023, but not as many. So I said, okay, now I got to back out of my goals. So my goal this year is to get into 100 new hotels and 100 new stores. Well, I'm not going to just get there just by, jibby jabby, maybe an email, maybe a phone call, every day. It has to be outlined. How many phone calls am I going to make every day? How many road trips am I going to make? How many emails am I going to send? Am I going to follow up? Because I think like in any business where you have sales, you see the number you want. Okay, let's say it's $100,000. I want $100,000 I want to make. Well, how are you going to get there? You got to back it out. You got to see, well, I got to make this many visits and this and until you can see the progress when you're writing it all down. And I think that's a really strong way for me to be moving forward this year. That's what I'm doing. That's me.
And so I saw that you was working with David Silverman.
Yes,
So,
yes.
so what made you decide, how did you realize that you needed mentorship?
Because I needed someone that's gotten there already. I
Okay.
need someone that's a multimillionaire, that's a successful businessman, that has, led a company. And one of them, that's how I, I was able to, get him to give me the time. But one of the most important things he taught me, he said, look, a lot of small business owners, a lot of entrepreneurs are going around going, I'm so busy, I need it. He said, what are you busy with? You're busy with something that you could pay somebody $15 an hour. But when you make a sales call and you get into a hotel, like I just got into this Savannah Westin hotel, right, in Georgia. Well, that sales call I made that day is potentially worth thousands.
Right.
Because the first order, and then let's say they reorder, right? But for me to like sit there and I don't know, enter in an email address on a database that somebody I could pay could do that. So, I mean, not that I have the extra cash all the time to pay somebody to do these things, but he's right.
Right.
If he said to me, well, because he has a very successful mortgage company. And he said, where would my business be today if I was sitting here on QuickBooks typing stuff in? I got to do the stuff. I got to recruit. I got to, get out there, whatever you've got to do to make a big business like that. But yeah, so I think mentors, I really believe in surrounding myself, or anyone should, with people that are better than you. I don't know if you've ever learned to play tennis or ski or anything. You want to ski behind the guy that's so much better than you that you have to really push to keep up. And that has to be in life. Me hanging around with some of my old buddies that are just like in the middle, it's not going to help me.
Right.
It's not going to help.
Right. And like you said, connecting with like-minded people, you'll start to develop the mindset where they're at, and that gives you time to say, okay, I got to change something. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
And the fact that you even knew that, you like, hey, I need a mentor. I think so many times we as women, we're afraid to ask for help.
Yeah, no, and the right people. See, like I read a lot of books about people that are successful, and this one is Jamie Kern Lima. She started a big cosmetics company and sold it for $1.2 billion to L'Oreal. Started from nothing. She always talks about who you give your microphone to. So like when you just said hanging out with likewise people, right? But if I ask like one of my friends advice, or first of all, they're going to look at me down anyway because of what I'm doing. But second of all, they can only see from their eyes, their fears. They've never started a company because they sell insurance, and they don't want to take that risk. So they can't give me advice. They can't. And you can, then they will, but you got to like block off that microphone. So like when you just said about being with likewise people, so likewise or better. Because whenever you ask somebody that's really successful a question about, they don't tell you can't do it. They never do. Because so that's important, and it's not easy. It's especially for like some of us that don't have people in our inner circles that are billionaires or millionaires. You have to seek them out.
Right, you do. You definitely do.
Yeah, like they're not at the Stop and Shop bagging the groceries. That's not them.
That's true. Can you share some challenges that you faced and that you was able to overcome as an entrepreneur?
Yes. I think confidence is one of them. And it's because I've self-taught. Because like, let's say I had to figure out where to procure my first packet, my first jar, and then my tin jar. Well, I didn't know anything about buying big products from overseas, but I taught myself. And making my formula as amazing as it is. I didn't know I could do that, but I taught myself. So every time I do something, and I always tell people this, whenever you do something that's out of your comfort zone and you do it and you conquer it, you feel more confident. It's another bone in your spine. And confidence building keeps me going. Because there are so many down moments when you just said obstacles you've overcome. Well, but how about the ones I haven't overcome yet that could get me stamping on my head, going down, down, down? Those are killers. But I have to look back in my toolbox and go, oh, well, I may not be able to learn. I don't know how to do this yet, or having some troubles here. but at least I taught myself how to do, labeling, and not that, I mean, I have people to help me, but leadership, how to be a leader. I had to teach myself, because in the beginning, I wasn't doing it right. Like, the people would work for me and they would kind of fool around and, mount and just like be disrespect, just not do it right.
Right.
But I learned how to teach people how to do it my way. And and they tell you, well, that's not right. Don't, it's not your way.
Right.
But being a leader is something that I've had to teach myself, and I'm still learning. Believe me, I'm no super pro.
And so how do you adjust to so you set goals? Let me rephrase this question. So you set goals, and sometimes your goals need to be adjusted during the way.
Yes.
How do you approach that?
Okay, let me think. All right, well, so in other words, on my ABC list, I wish I had my stuff at hand. When I'm doing my ABCs, I see, well, my ABCs included, okay, getting into, Bloomingdale's, but I didn't get in. I didn't get in yet. Or, like Cracker Barrel. Well, I was working on Cracker Barrel, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. So,
But not yet.
Not yet. Right. I'm going to move that down. Okay.
Right.
But, in other words, if I see, like, how much time do I want to spend on getting on QVC if it's probably not going to happen this year?
Okay.
Well, I'm going to move that down, and I'm going to concentrate on those 100 stores.
Right.
Because the more I concentrate on that, the more I can see progress.
Right. Right.
I don't know if I'm answering the question exactly what you mean, but
you got it, being flexible and just being able to, you had, as an entrepreneur, when you're goal setting, you can project, but sometimes you have to be able to pivot at any moment. And that's not a bad thing, and that's not a good, you know what I mean? It's not a bad thing to be able to pivot. It makes you more flexible. Right.
As long as I'm moving forward, I'm okay with the pivot.
Right.
I really am. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I can't figure out how to do that. I'm not going to get rid of it, but I'm going to concentrate on this one because it's doable.
Yeah, because and when I found out, when you move to the next thing, you might find your answer, your solution in that next thing, that you're able to go back to the previous goal, that you hit that roadblock. If that makes
absolutely, because you learn something from getting to that other goal. Every time I have a success, it's something that I learned that I can use moving forward. Right. There are so many things. I mean, I could sit at this computer all day and keep working to get to the next goal, or to some of them, but there's other things that come into play, right?
And so what advice would you give to people that are thinking about becoming an entrepreneur, don't know where to start, they feel like they're not good enough, they don't have the knowledge? What advice would you give to them about getting started? I'm
going to do 3 things, because I'm going to keep it quick, because there's no point in blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Go get a book or an Audible book about someone that has made it from nothing. I don't care who it is. Google that. 5 people will come up, 10 people, because that gives you confidence right there. Number 2, write down what it is you want. If you don't know what the business is that you want to get into, you just say, I just want to work for myself. Write that down, and every day, even if it's 10 minutes, do something toward that. Like, if you say, I want to start a stationery company. Well, take 10 minutes, because let's say your full-time work. Take 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and organize where to get paper from, right? Where to get ink, where to get stamps. Read up, but don't just put it off, because that's not going to get you anywhere. There is a saying that I heard another entrepreneur say online, that if you spend 18 minutes a day doing the same thing every day, eventually you will be a 95% better at that thing than the rest of the population. Wow. So do something toward it, and you'll feel good, because then you're getting somewhere. Because when you do something, it gets you somewhere. You didn't do nothing. You didn't sit there and binge a show for 15 minutes or scroll on Instagram. Right. You're doing something. Yeah. Even if it's writing it to anything, and you do something. Right. That's my thing. Just do something.
I agree. You gotta just start. I tell everybody, I even tell my mother, just work on it for 10 minutes a day, and you'll start seeing it's because what I feel like is the energy, right? You're focusing on this thing, and then as you start writing or reading, then the ideas start coming to your mind, and you're like, oh, I could do that. You know what I mean? So, but just giving it that attention, that focus, you'll start seeing things start coming into your life, and you'll start getting more clarity.
Absolutely. It's true. Like anything, it's a snowball.
Right.
Yeah.
And so if people wanted to purchase your scrubs, where can they purchase it?
Well, they could go online. I mean, my website, it's actually, so my whole company name is Wendy's LowCountry Sugar Scrub.
Okay.
So our website is wendalas.com, which no one's ever going to catch that spelling. So it's WENDALAS.com. But I want to tell you, I'm not up here to be trying to get people to buy stuff. But if they do want to, I want to give you a promo code for anybody that's listening, because I think, it's women in BIZ, women in biz.
Okay.
And that'll give them a discount. And I'll know, that they're coming from you, and I'll send them something special extra.
Oh,
women in biz, BIZ.
All right. I appreciate that.
I don't know where their listeners are everywhere, right? They're like, yes, yeah, that's great. I think you are great. I am so happy to e-Zoom meet you or whatever. I want to keep up with you. So
I appreciate it. I love you come and tell your story, because here we just want to empower women to say, hey, just, you don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to be perfect. Just start the business thing.
That's right. Just start.
Yeah, and we all on the same journey together. Nobody's different. We're all facing the same challenges every day.
Oh, yep. That is true.
Thank you again, Wendy, for stopping past. Anytime you want to come on, you're always more than welcome to come back to the show.
You're awesome. Thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate it.
No problem.
All right. Bye.
Tune in to the Diva Hockey Show. Motivate the glow. We give you more info. Think to my head to toe. I let the whole world know.